Welcome. We're going to go through the Chapter 2 review worksheet. We won't do all the problems, but we'll do a good number here to make sure you're well prepared for tomorrow's test. All right, so first we have an equation with the distributive property and variables on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute on this side the -2 to both terms. So we have 8, and this is a minus 6m. Recopy this left-hand side. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can pause at any time to allow yourself to catch up. A lot of options. I'm going to add 6m to both sides. All right, so that gives me -37 plus 9m is equal to 8. I'm going to add 37 to both sides, giving me 9m is equal to 45. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 9 and give myself m is equal to 5. There's our first answer. All right, so for here we have, again, a distributive property problem on the left-hand side this time. And we're going to want to do that first again. So -4 times 5 is -20. Now I interpret this as a whole piece there. You could see that subtraction separately, but I'm going to do -4 times -3r to give me plus 12r. Don't forget your -8 still on that side of the equals is equal to 6r plus 20. Okay, on the left-hand side, this time we have some constants that we can combine. They're like terms. So -20 and -8 is -28 plus 12r is equal to 6r plus 20. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6r from both sides. And we're going to get -28 plus 6r is equal to 20. You see, the faster I write, sometimes my curved lines become angles. All right, we're going to continue. -28 added to both sides is going to give us 6r is equal to 48. Divide both sides by 6, and r is equal to 8. Excellent. For this next problem, we have fractions in our problem. Oh no, watch out for the fractions. The easiest thing to do is to get rid of the fractions right away. So let's find the least common multiple of all the denominators. So on the right-hand side, we have a 4 and a 5. On the left-hand side, we have an 8. Least common multiple of all of those is 40. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 40. Okay, now 8 goes into 40 5 times. So I can cancel that 1, cancel that 5. 5 times, don't forget this is a -25, so 5 times -25 is -125 is equal to, 4 goes into 40 10 times, 10 times 7 is 70n. 5 goes into 40 8 times, 8 times 8 is 64. Minus 5 goes into 40 8 times, 8 times 114 times 14 is 112. N. All right, so now we've got like terms on the right-hand side, so I'm going to go ahead and combine those. So 70n and -112n is -42n plus 64. Subtract 64 from both sides, I get -189 is equal to -42n. I'm going to divide both sides by -42, and I get -189 over -42 is equal to n. That is a 9 there. And we have to do a couple things to clean this up. First of all, we know a negative over a negative is definitely going to give us a positive. And we also know that we can simplify this fraction. What number will go into both? It might take you more than one step, but ultimately 21 goes into both. So this reduces to 9 over 2 is equal to n. All right, here's another example where we're also working with fractions, a little simpler actually. On the right-hand side and left-hand side, we have denominators of 2 and 6, so least common multiple is 6, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 6. Again, don't forget the negative. 6 times -1/2 is -3. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. P plus these 6's cancel out, leaving me with 5. Subtract 5 from both sides, I get -8 is equal to 9p. Divide both sides by 9, and I get -8 over 9 equals p. Happy to leave our answer just like that. Alright, here we are now into literal equations. Remember, for literal equations, you're not going to necessarily get a numerical answer for your variable. I cut off the directions. They would have said solve for x. You need to know that to know where to proceed with this problem. So I'm going to solve for x. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to start by subtracting 6 from both sides. So I get z minus 6 is equal to 2xy. Okay, now, connected to the x is the 2 and the y. They're both being multiplied. I could do it in 2 steps. I'm going to do it in 1. I'm going to undo both of those multiplications by dividing by both of them. So z minus 6 over 2y is equal to x. And that's your answer. Another little equation, but this one is more difficult. How can you identify the increased difficulty? There is x's in 2 locations, and unlike if we had 5x plus 3x, we can't combine these. 5x plus 3x, we'd get 8x, things would be easy. But zx plus yx, we can't do that. So they have a common x in them, so we can factor that out. Or you can see it as the reverse distributive property. So I'm pulling out the common factor of x. X times what would give me zx? Well, z. Bring down the plus that was already between the two terms in the original equation. All right, now x times what will give me yx? Y, of course, and equal to k on the other side. You can always check to see that you did this right by by actually using the distributive property. If I took x times z, I'd get xz or zx, and if I took x times y, I'd get yx. So that double check lets you know you did it correctly, but we want to proceed. So we have x times this term here, so to get rid of it, we will divide by z plus y. Ignore that notification. And we clean this up as x is equal to k over z plus y. Final answer. Last problem here is also another literal equation, but at the end of this, we're going to also plug in some values for y to find what x is. So first, we're going to distribute again. Y is equal to then 6x minus 10. Subtract 10, add 10 to both sides rather, and y plus 10 is equal to 6x. Divide both sides by 6. Excuse me, let me just cross that off. Y plus 10 divided by 6 is equal to x. Terrific. There's our equation. Now that is the first part of the solution because it says solve for x. So you do need this part. But we're not done because we're going to evaluate when y equals -1 and y equals 2. So we're going to use that equation, plug in -1 plus 10 over 6 equals x. -1 plus 10 is 9. 9 over 6 is equal to x. That reduces to 3 over 2. That's our first answer for x. Now we're also going to plug in 2. So 2 plus 10 over 6. Well, that one's nice and easy. 2 plus 10 is 12. Divided by 6 is 2. So 2 is equal to x. And that's our other answer. Feel free to go and check the rest of your answers by downloading these solutions also on my website.